A cold wind swept across the small town park as evening shadows stretched long, but the sound that suddenly broke the quiet made every heart that heard it stop for a moment. "Ma'am, I can't find my daddy." The little girl's trembling voice carried a fear so raw that even the passing birds seemed to pause mid-flight. And that was the moment the woman everyone called the Ice Queen CEO turned around, faster than anyone had ever seen her move. What she didn't know was that running after that child would change her life forever. If you're watching this, don't forget to like the video, because this story deserves to be heard, and subscribe for more life-touching stories that remind us what kindness truly means. It all began just a few minutes earlier. Amara Khan, one of the most successful young CEOs in the country, had forced herself to take a rare break. Work had consumed her life for years, and silence felt safer than emotions. She'd lost too much, cared too little, and believed that keeping her heart locked was the only way to survive. But destiny doesn't knock. It whispers, softly, like the voice of a frightened child. She had just closed her laptop when she noticed the girl, a tiny thing, maybe 6 years old, with messy ponytails, dirt on her cheeks, and eyes so full of panic that Amara's chest tightened on instinct. "Sweetheart, what happened?" she asked gently. The girl clutched the sleeve of Amara's blazer, her small hand shaking. "My daddy, he went to get firewood, but he didn't come back. I waited and waited, I think he's lost, or hurt." Her voice cracked, and the tears she was trying so hard to hide finally spilled. Someone else might have called the police. Someone else might have promised help and stayed put. But Amara didn't think. She reacted, heart first. "Show me where you last saw him," she said, already slipping off her heels. The little girl nodded and took off sprinting toward the dark line of trees. Amara ran after her without hesitation. Branches whipped her arms, mud splashed her clothes, but she kept running. The deeper they went into the woods, the colder it became. The little girl, Lila, she said her name was, kept calling out. "Daddy, Daddy, where are you?" Only silence answered. But Amara refused to give up. The desperation in Lila's voice echoed her own memories, the day she lost someone, the day no one came running for her. She wouldn't let another child feel that same loneliness. Finally, after almost half an hour of searching, a faint groan broke through the wind. "Did you hear that?" Amara whispered. Lila gasped and ran toward the sound. There, lying near a fallen tree, was a man, Lila's father, his leg trapped under a heavy log, his face pale with pain. "Daddy!" Lila cried and threw herself into his arms. He tried to smile, but pain twisted his features. I slipped, couldn't move, didn't know if anyone would find me." Amara knelt beside him. "Don't worry. We'll get you out." It took every ounce of strength she had, but she managed to push the log just enough for him to free his leg. He cried out but nodded gratefully. They needed help, real help. But phone signals here were weak. So Amara did the unthinkable. She carried Lila's father on her shoulder, step by agonizing step, as little Lila held his hand and whispered, "It's okay, Daddy, we're going home." By the time they reached the edge of the forest, Amara's legs were shaking, her breath ragged. A park ranger, alerted by Lila's calls earlier, spotted them and rushed to help. Lila's father was taken to the hospital, and the doctor said one more hour in the cold, and he might not have survived. Lila didn't let go of Amara's hand even for a second. "Ma'am, you saved my daddy," she whispered, her eyes shining. "No," Amara replied softly, brushing a tear from Lila's cheek. "You saved him. You were brave enough to look for help." But the moment that broke Amara, truly broke her, was when Lila wrapped her arms tightly around her waist and said, "You ran for me, even though you don't know me. Nobody ever runs for us." Amara's heart cracked open. She felt something she hadn't felt in years. A warmth, a purpose, a reminder that kindness doesn't need a reason, only a moment. Days later, Lila's father recovered, and they invited Amara to dinner. It was simple, just warm food, laughter, a child's drawings on the wall, but it felt like home in a way Amara hadn't felt for so long. Lila gave her a crayon drawing, herself, her dad, and Amara. Above them, in messy handwriting, "Thank you for finding my daddy. You're our hero." And for the first time in years, Amara cried openly. That night, she made a decision. She would create a foundation to search for missing people, especially children, because no one should feel lost, unheard, or alone in the dark.